Welcome to Global Journeys with Jill Dutton, the captivating travel podcast that takes you on an extraordinary adventure around the world. I'm your host, Jill Dutton, and I am thrilled to be your guide through the mesmerizing tapestry of cultures, landscapes, and experiences that await us. Global Journeys with Jill Dutton is more than just a travel podcast. It's an exploration of humanity itself. Through the power of storytelling, we illuminate the lives of the remarkable individuals we encounter along the way. Whether it's through the eyes of a fishing guide, a distillery owner, a mixologist, a historian, chef, or even a farmer, each person we meet adds a rich layer to the narrative of culture and place. In this podcast, we embark on a transformative journey where the focus goes beyond the typical tourist attractions. Instead, we dive deep into the hearts and souls of the places we visit, uncovering the hidden gems and untold stories that make each destination truly unique. Join me as we venture off the beaten path, seeking authenticity, connection, and a deeper understanding of the world we inhabit. Together, we'll unravel the tapestry of cultures, one story at a time. Although my writing career began in the late 90s when I created and launched a wellness publication called Evolving Magazine, since 2015, I've worked as a travel writer on a mission to seek out the locally celebrated foods, liquor trends, outdoor activities, and stories of those I meet along the way. My work has been published in Wine Enthusiast, Afar, Woman's World, First for Women, Insider, Road Trippers, Modern Farmer, Chilled Magazine, and many more digital and print publications. I'm also the creator of Global Plates, The People We Meet, The Food They Eat, a syndicated column. Creating this podcast is the next step in my journey of sharing the stories of the people I've met along the way. So pack your curiosity, leave your preconceived notions behind, and let's embark on Global Journeys with Jill Dutton, where each episode promises to inspire, educate, and awaken the wanderlust within us all. Welcome, fellow travelers, to another exciting episode of Global Journeys with Jill Dutton. I'm your host, Jill Dutton, and today we are embarking on a delightful journey into the heart of New York State and the Sullivan Catskills, where we'll uncover the artistry and passion behind crafting unique spirits. Joining us today is a true trailblazer in the world of distilling, a visionary who has not only mastered the art of creating exceptional spirits, but has also made it her mission to support and protect the environment in the process. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce Claire Marin, the owner and head distiller at Pollinator Spirits, a distillery that's not only crafting exquisite libations, but is deeply committed to the sustainability of our planet. Claire's journey into the world of spirits is a fascinating one. In 2003, she began as a beekeeper, tending to hives and producing the finest wildflower honey. Her honey quickly became a sought-after delight in New York State restaurants, but Claire's journey didn't stop there. In 2010, she ventured into the world of distillation with her wildflower honey as a key ingredient. So whether you're a seasoned traveler or an armchair explorer, grab your favorite cocktail, sit back, and get ready to be inspired as we embark on this intoxicating adventure through the world of distillation and sustainability with Claire Marin, a beekeeper turned distiller with a heart as sweet as her honey. Claire, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us and give us a chance to learn more about Catskills Provisions Distillery as well as your Pollinator Spirits.
Thank you so much, Jill. It's a pleasure to speak with you again. We have been at this for quite a while, so it's really nice to continue to get attention from people
right. Yes, and winning awards. And I was there in the spring for the food festival, and I really enjoyed getting to see your distillery as well as sample some of these wonderful flavors. And I brought home with me your Negroni and some of the vodka. And it was so delightful, though, to come back to Kansas City and be able to savor and taste some of your spirits. So thank you.
Excellent.
Can you tell us about the history and inspiration behind Catskills Provisions Distillery and what motivated you to start this craft spirits company in the Sullivan Catskills?
Yeah, so I started the company in 2010. I had been in publishing for 15 years prior to that. And I visited the Catskills for the very first time in 2003 and really fell in love with it. There's a lot of space there. It's the one thing that always resonated with me. I feel my creative juices really come to life up there. And so if you are entrepreneurial, creative, it really, I feel, is an area that inspires people. And so I visited in 2003, kept being in my publishing career, and I ran sales teams for magazines and media companies. So I had worked for companies like Hearst and Meredith, Hachette Filipaki. And on the weekends, I would go up there and I would beekeep. I started beekeeping right in 2004. And it was so wonderful. And I would bring jars of honey to people I worked with and editors, and they would all be like, you got to do something with this. This honey is incredible. Oh my God, we love it. You really need, they saw the passion, I think,
Yes.
And the honey up there happens to be extremely wonderful. There's a big variety of flowers and different trees, fruit trees. And so pollinators have an incredibly good time there, except for the long winter sometimes are not so great for them. So I started bringing the idea back upstate of, what do I do with this? Maybe I should really consider it. So it took me about 6 years to decide, what, I am going to resign from my job. I had a couple of years money in the bank, which I definitely recommend for anybody who is thinking about starting something. You really need to know that you have some income coming, or in the bank itself. And so in April, I resigned. And then in September, I had incorporated Catskill Provisions, Inc. And I was not yet distilling. That came after, but I started really with honey. So I would go upstate, harvest honey, put it in a jar, put a label on it, and bring it to chefs that I knew in the city. I have always been a foodie. I've always loved food, beverage, hospitality. I was always very attracted to that. And so I just knew a lot of people in that industry. And that's really how Catskill Provisions was born. Today, I still have the same customers that I started out with, plus fantastic. New ones, of course. But I'm still, going to these restaurants where, like Mark Meyer of the Bowery Restaurant Group and Cook Shop, and really amazing restaurants. They own 5 restaurants. He was my very first customer. So it's there's a lot of pride and satisfaction in what I've done and what I'm doing, for sure.
Oh, fantastic! And it's raw wildflower honey. Is that correct?
Yes, that is our main product. We actually supply about 300 restaurants weekly with honey. And then we also do maple syrup as well. We work with a single family that does our maple syrup upstate. New York State makes some of the most amazing maple syrup. And people, when I first started in 2010, people did not know New York State maple syrup at all. They were actually selling the maple syrup to Vermont, and Vermont was saying that it was maple syrup, which happens, with like Spanish olive oil, they branded Italian because people want Italian, so it's kind of interesting, and so I got a big kick out of showing chefs the things that are being produced right here, in our state, that they didn't even talk about. New York makes maple syrup, really, oh my God. And it's so good. So we also supply that as well.
Okay. And your products, they range from, you've got a wide range of items, from chocolate truffles to whiskey. And I know that honey plays an important part in like the honey whiskey and other products. I mean, maybe focus on the honey aspect first, as far as, how you're incorporating that into some spirits and how it changes the profile. How does it affect the flavor?
Yeah, absolutely. Honey for me has always been a flavor stabilizer. It's much more than a sweetener, much more. Chefs use it in salad dressings, for example. You put a little, a few drops or half a teaspoon in your salad dressing, and it cuts the acidity of the vinegar, for example.
Yes.
If you have bitter, it balances a bitter flavor. So I started really experimenting with honey and whiskey, and I thought, I think rye really could use a drop of honey because it just, rye is very complex. It's spicy, it's hot, which is great. And those are the reasons why we go to rye. But honestly, with a drop of honey, it just smooths the jagged edges so beautifully, and it makes rye very sippable, delicious to enjoy, So that was the first idea, really, was New York grows incredible rye, and it just was the perfect spirit for me to start with. And so perfect. I now produce rye, age it for 3.5 to 4 years in new American oak barrels, and then switch it over to a barrel that I have coated with a little bit of honey. And it rests in that barrel for about 3 to 4 weeks. And it's just absolutely delicious. It is still really one of our very, very most successful spirits.
I bet. And do you incorporate it into some cocktails that you sell at your distillery location, at the tasting room?
Yeah, of course. We make an incredible old fashioned. We skip the sugar cube. Typically an old fashioned will have the sugar cube.
Right.
And I have to tell you, if you have an old fashioned with this whiskey without the sugar cube, you're not going to be able to enjoy a regular old fashioned anymore, because it is the old fashioned now becomes so balanced, and you taste the whiskey more. So it's really the way you're going to want to have it forever.
It sounds delicious. You were talking about the rye. So I'm curious, sustainability and locally sourced ingredients, they're important to the Catskill provisions. So could you explain maybe how you incorporate these principles into your production process and why it's essential to you to use these local ingredients?
It has always been the motto of the company. Our ethos has always been very much about conserving, being socially responsible. We've never paid anyone, for example, minimum wage. I've never paid anyone minimum wage. It's always a living wage, treating your employees and people that are with you kindly and thoughtfully. And, those things have always been very important. But nature is so essential, right, to our survival and the survival of the planet. And of course, pollinators made me very, very aware of the plight that they are going through, right? And so water is extremely important to them and to us. So conserving water is always something that I am always doing, even though our distillery is up on a mountain that's 1,800 feet high. And our well, for example, our well water is some of the most delicious water you'll ever drink. Our well is 450 feet deep, so the purity of that water is incredible. And there's tons of naturally occurring springs on our mountain. We still conserve water because we will need it. Someday we will have a lack of water. And so, we use our cleaning water. We use a couple of times. We trickle water into barrels. We're very thoughtful about water conservation. I don't distill our water. The water that we actually distill with and proof our spirits down from higher proof alcohol. We use the water directly from our well, which is so delicious. And part of the reason why our spirits do taste so wonderful is really there's body to our water. We're not distilling it, neutralizing flavors. We want all the natural flavors to really come through. So that's another way that we are not using more electric and wasting a lot of the water from the condensation of it through the distilling process, So we use the whole part of the water, all the parts of the water that we collect. And then also the importance of using local products or ingredients is really less carbon footprint, less delivery trucks and bringing things across the country and, that sort of thing. So it really is extremely important for those reasons. Mm-hmm. And also freshness of product, of course, of ingredients, and then stimulating the local economy,
yes.
Keeping it in the state, in our county, whenever we can, in our town, wherever we can. Those things really, I think, speak to the success of the area because, small, locally focused businesses have increased, obviously, in popularity. And now there's a really nice economy, mm-hmm. Where we are. And Jill, honestly, there are so many times that I meet young people like in their 20s, 30s, who were born and bred in Sullivan County, where we are, left to get an education, and now come back and have really great paying jobs. So those people now are looking for homes, buying cars, raising families. Our school systems are better, all those things. So it really has created a really, really nice economy without a doubt, so I really applaud all of us that have, focused on keeping it local and being really responsible.
Oh, wonderful. That is so encouraging to hear. And I know you've won lots of awards. And so I'm curious, what are your standout products or what, some of your favorites and what type of awards have you won?
So the biggest one that really comes to mind for me is our rye whiskey finished in honeyed barrels, won a 97 from the Ultimate Spirits Challenge out of 100. So that's really pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. And then it also won double gold at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition.
Yes.
There were many whiskeys from all over the world sent, and this was double gold, meaning, and also my Pollinator gin won double gold that same year at the same competition because there were 182 gins sent in. And what double gold means is that all 50 judges gave it a gold medal.
Wow.
So it becomes double gold. So those two won double gold that year, which is kind of amazing. And then the next year, it was the bourbon that won double gold at that same competition. So I have 3 double gold winners, which is really amazing, I have to say, because it is probably the most prestigious award event of the year for anyone in the spirits industry.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's fantastic. And tell me a little bit about the location. And I just remember, was it previously a firehouse? Is that, I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
It was such a unique spot.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful building. It was it was actually a machine shop first, built in 1945. So everyone would bring all their tractors in the area to this one machine shop in Callicoon on the Delaware River. And that's really where we are in Sullivan County. And in 1950, it became the firehouse for the Callicoon area. And, they would fit like 2 to 3 fire trucks in there. So it was pretty big. It was really, it's about 7,000 square feet. The ceilings are 15 feet high. And, it's just, it really is a beautiful building right in the center of town.
So beautiful. The big doors opened up. It just was spacious and warm. And then I remember the tasting room area, then you get this totally different feel. It's bright and airy and light. And it's just very, the whole space is so inviting and a wonderful place. And so I'm curious, if a traveler is interested in experiencing the Sullivan Catskills as well as coming to your distillery, do you have tours or tastings? And, what can someone expect?
Absolutely. You could just come to 16 Upper Main Street, right, which is right in the center of Callicoon. A tasting there. We have a full tasting bar. We're open every day except Wednesday. You could go on our website for hours. We're typically open 11 to 4 every day. So you could come shopping. And then we do offer food and beverages, great cocktails. But you could call ahead too and do a private tour of the distillery, which is really nice. And we have packages like, adding a little charcuterie to it, a cocktail making class, for example, with me.
Mm-hmm.
But we can accommodate a group up to 14 that way. And it is so, so lovely. People love coming up and enjoying it like that, in a private group with all your friends. It's really a great thing to do for the day.
Oh, it sounds amazing. On that travel aspect, then, as a business rooted in the Sullivan Catskills, can you recommend some local attractions, restaurants, or experiences that travelers should explore when they're in the region, other than coming to visit you?
Yeah, no, of course. So we are about 35 minutes away from where the location of Woodstock, the concert happened in Bethel, New York. And right in Bethel, New York, there is an incredible amphitheater concert venue, Bethel Woods, which is stunning. And there is a Woodstock museum there. So you will see guitars and photography and video and movies and amazing relics from the Woodstock event, that happened in 1969. So
yes,
I definitely recommend that. It's amazing. There are a couple of alpaca farms that are really cool to, family oriented entertainment for sure.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really great stuff to do for sure. And then also there is, canoeing, of course. We're known for fishing. The Delaware River is incredible. There are a lot of beautiful brooks too. If you're into fly fishing, our area is where fly fishing was invented.
Yes,
so
and there's a fly fishing museum as well. Isn't that correct?
Yes, which is so worth the trip. It's in Livingston Manor, and it's really amazing. And that's like 20 minutes away from us. So in a half-hour radius from where our distillery is, there's so much to do. There's great campgrounds, Airbnbs, of course, but also great hotels, Callicoon Hills. There is the North Branch Inn, Nine River Road, great places to stay. There's a great Seminary Hill Cidery, is lovely.
Yes.
It's in Callicoon, gorgeous views. And they also provide places for you to stay as well. They have beautiful rooms that you can rent as well. So, and we also are very much concierges of the area, so don't hesitate to call one of us and ask, things to do, places to stay and stuff like that. Because I give recommendations constantly to people.
That is wonderful. That is so helpful. But, as someone visiting the area, they're not going to know everything that there is to do. Totally. So that's great.
Yeah.
Well, Claire, thank you so much. So thrilled to have you today. So thank you. And
yes, you too. Okay.
Have a great day. As we travel on this exciting podcasting journey together, I invite you, our incredible audience, to be a part of it. Share your own travel stories, insights, and recommendations with us. Whether you have a hidden gem in your hometown or a dream destination that has captured your imagination, we want to hear from you. Your suggestions will help shape the future episodes of Global Journeys with Jill Dutton, guiding us towards extraordinary locations and experiences that deserve a spotlight. Remember, this podcast is not about just the host or the guests. It's about the collective exploration and discovery that unites us all as wanderers in this vast world. So reach out to us through our website, social media channels, or email and let your voice be heard. Send your suggestions to me at jill@globaljourneyswithjilldutton.com. I can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, may your travels be filled with endless curiosity, open-hearted encounters, and transformative adventures. Safe travels, fellow explorers, and keep wandering.